In this video, I'm going to show you exactly where your Social Security check ranks compared to everybody else. Coming up next on Holy Schmidt.
Holy Schmidt!
Recently, the SSA published the average Social Security payment for 2026, and that number is $2,071 per month. This is a number that has been focused on by the media, and there isn't a lot of context in this information. It's just a number. The problem is that that single number doesn't have any useful information. It doesn't say, for example, whether the average person claiming was 62 or 65 or 70. It doesn't tell you the difference between the mean and the median. Those are two different types of averages. It doesn't give you a lot of data that you need to understand where you sit with regard to everybody else. And that's what this video is all about. Most people claiming Social Security have no idea whether they're in the 10th percentile, the 50th percentile, the 75th percentile, or the 90th percentile, or whether they're somewhere in between. They see the average, they compare their check to it, and then they walk away frustrated and confused. Happens all the time. Today I'm going to show you who got what and by how much, and by the end of the video you'll be crystal clear on where you sit compared to other retirees receiving Social Security in the United States. And importantly, I'm going to show you what you can do to change it if you've already filed. All right, let's jump into it. Let me start by saying using the $2,071 number is essentially useless if you don't add additional information. And the reason is that the information is pretty skewed. A large percentage of retirees are between $1,100 and $2,400 a month, and the 2071 number sits in the middle of those two data points. But here's something that surprises a lot of people. Only 1/6 of Social Security recipients receive less than $1,100 a month, and 1/3 of Social Security recipients receive more than $2,400 a month. In that group on the right is where the high earners live, those that have more than $2,400 a month. The shape of this curve isn't random. It's the direct result of how Social Security calculates benefits. The formula pays back a large percentage of your contributions on the first dollars of lifetime earnings, then it tapers as you climb the income ladder. This is why it ramps up quickly from $0 to $1,000 and then tapers off after about $2,400. And by the way, this is the part of the video where you want to take a screenshot. I'm putting the Social Security distribution bands on the screen right now, and we're going to talk about those. If your benefit is under $900 per month, you're in the bottom 10% of all retirees. Under $1,200 per month puts you in the bottom 20%. Under $1,400 a month is the bottom 30%. The median, the 50th percentile, sits at roughly $1,900 per month. So if your check is above $1,900 per month, you're in the top half of Social Security beneficiaries. Above $2,500 per month puts you in the top 25%. Above $3,200 puts you in the top 10%. And above $3,700 per month puts you in the top 5%. And based on this estimate, to be roughly in the top 1% of Social Security recipients, your check needs to be above $4,700 per month. That's been my experience with retirees who work steady careers that they land somewhere between $3,000 and $4,000 per month. But that puts them in the top 15% to even the top 5%. But that number varies enormously based on whether the spouse worked or not and the age at which they claim Social Security. Gang, Medicare can be confusing. It can be overwhelming. Just ask anybody who's age 65 or older and they'll tell you that this is true. They'll spend hours of time considering all of their options, and they'll choose a plan only to find that they're on the wrong Medicare plan. Now on this channel we have 3 affiliate relationships. One is our trusted Medicare Partner Chapter. Chapter is the only national advisor that looks at and recommends every plan. They're totally free to you. They save their clients an average of $1,100 per month. They won't put you in a plan that you don't want to be put in, and most importantly, they're really easy to work with. So if this is of interest to you, give them a call at 440-703-1224 to see if they can help. Now here's another data point that the averages completely hide. Men, on average, receive a significantly higher Social Security check than women do. The gap is several $100s per month, thousands of dollars per year per person. And this gap matters because it compounds year over year and it has real consequences for couples, which I'll explain in a minute. The gap is driven by 3 things. The first is lifetime earnings differences. The next point is the time spent out of the workforce. One spouse will often stay home and raise the child or children while the other continues to work. And the third is just the difference in claiming patterns between men and women. Now, for couples, this matters enormously because when one partner passes away, the surviving partner receives the higher benefit, but they don't receive both. So if the higher earner passes first, the most that the survivor can receive is the larger benefit. If the lower earning spouse passes first, then the household loses the smaller check. Still meaningful in most cases. Either way, the household income drops, but the math is completely different depending on which spouse passes. And this is a good point to point out that if you're married and you haven't had a discussion about the survivor benefit, you have an information gap, and this is a good week for you to have that discussion with your partner. Now, let me show you what the upper bound is, the maximum Social Security payment someone can receive. According to the SSA, the maximum possible benefit for someone retiring at age 70 in 2026 is $5,181 per month. That's $62,172 per year from Social Security alone for one person. If the same person had claimed Social Security at full retirement age, their benefit would be $4,152 per month. And if they had claimed at age 62, the earliest possible age, their benefit would be just $2,969 per month. Now, it's important for you to look at the spread here from $2,969 to $5,181. That's a difference of $2,212 per month or $26,500 per year for life. Same person, same earnings record, different claiming age. Now, outside of this video, you might have read something somewhere that said the maximum Social Security payment is $5,400 per year. That's true, but that's for someone that had a full retirement age of age 65, and that would have been quite a while ago. And because full retirement age used to be lower for older generations, someone who had a full retirement age of age 65 had 5 years of additional growth, not 3, which is what people are looking at today. So if you're watching this video, your full retirement age is probably somewhere between 66 and 67, probably closer to 67, which means that you have about 3 years, and the payments we're talking about here refer to someone who looks similar to you. Now, here's a point that's pretty important. Knowing where your payment ranks is interesting. It makes great cocktail conversation, but it's not necessarily useful without additional information. The percentiles tell you where you are, but they don't tell you what to do. For example, 2 retirees with the exact $2,400 check can have 2 vastly different retirement outcomes. It depends on when they claimed, whether their spouse worked and had their own Social Security payment. It depends on which Medicare plan they choose. There are a lot of choices along the way. It also depends on whether their records are even correct, and it depends on if they know about a very specific lever that they can use to increase their payment, and we're going to talk about that in just a moment. Because for the rest of this video, I'm going to show you the things that you still can control to improve your outcome. The first is the easiest way to improve your outcome, and that's to make sure that your earnings history is correct. It's right there, it's available at the SSA, and the SSA does make mistakes. So if your earnings history is not correct, well, then you should let them know. And the fact is, errors are a lot more common than people realize, particularly since the SSA doesn't have the most modern systems and did a lot of things by hand, even as recently as 10 years ago, maybe even now to some degree. Employers make mistakes. Name changes don't transfer. You might have years on your record that have zeros, and you worked full time during those years. And even if you're still collecting, you can request a change with the SSA if you discover an error, and the SSA will change your payments for the future. There are general rules and exceptions to the rules. The general rule is that you have 3 years, 3 months, and 15 days to talk to the SSA about a problem with your earnings record. But there are exceptions to these rules, and sometimes these errors can be fixed later. But the way to test this is to go to ssa.gov and just look at your earnings record and see if there's anything missing. If anything looks off, file for a correction. Even a year of missing information can make a meaningful difference in the size of your payment because they take historical earnings and bring them into today's dollars. They index them. And by the way, an incorrect earnings record is the single biggest mistake that retirees face. Their check is smaller than they thought it would be, but they don't know why and they don't know what to ask. Well, start with looking at your earnings record to make sure that it's correct. The next is a data point that's often misunderstood, and that is the earnings limit. If you are working collecting Social Security, you can only earn a certain amount. After that, you have to give back part of your earnings to the SSA in 2026. If this isn't the age that you reach your full retirement age year, the amount that you can earn is $24,480. Above that, the SSA will withhold $1 for every 2 over the limit, and if they don't withhold it because they don't know, then they'll send you a bill, basically, and you have to repay the amount that they say you have to repay. If this is the year that you've reached full retirement age, then you can earn up to $65,160 before you reach full retirement age, and then you have to give $1 back for every $3 over that limit. Once you reach full retirement age, you can earn as much as you want, and you don't have to give a single dollar back. But here's what most people don't understand. The SSA doesn't just keep the money, because if you had delayed claiming Social Security, your check would continue to grow. And that's what they do with it. They give it back to you in the form of a higher Social Security check at full retirement age. They recalculate your full retirement age payment. Now, here's an option that many Social Security recipients don't know exists, but it's powerful. If you've started collecting Social Security and you've reached your full retirement age, you can voluntarily suspend your Social Security payment up until age 70 and let it grow. And the critical point here is that you don't have to repay anything that you've received from Social Security. That's yours. You're just suspending your payment from that point forward, and you get an increase of approximately 8% per year for up to 3 years for most of you on the amount that you were receiving before. Not the age 67 amount, but the amount that you had been receiving can grow an additional 8% per year. You can resume repayments at any time, by the way, or you can wait until age 70. This is so important, I'm going to show you the math on this because it could be a game changer for you. Imagine someone who claimed early and who is collecting $2,000 per month, and they suspend their payment at age 67 and let that benefit grow for 3 years and resume at age 70. Their new benefit is $2,480 per month. That's a $480 per month monthly raise, and that's before any cost of living adjustment. And the surviving spouse has the benefit of the additional $5,760 per year. Now, the caveats are real, and you need to pay close attention to them before executing the strategy. While your benefit is suspended, anyone who receives Social Security on your earnings record will have their benefits suspended. That means your spouse and children. The exception is if this is a divorced spouse benefit and you've been divorced for more than 2 years. Everybody else will have their benefits suspended when you suspend your primary insurance amount. And also, you can't collect benefits on someone else's record, meaning a spousal benefit, while your own benefit is suspended. And very importantly, your Medicare Part B premiums can't be deducted from a suspended benefit, so the CMS will bill you directly and you need to pay them directly for your Medicare Part B premiums. One last point, the voluntary suspension strategy is different than the old file and suspend strategy that was eliminated in 2016. That old strategy allowed someone to file for Social Security, their spouse would collect the spousal benefit, and then they would suspend, and the spouse would continue to collect the benefit. That is no longer available. This is completely different than that. And one of the best fits for this strategy is someone who filed early but doesn't really need the income now, and so it's okay if they suspend it. Maybe they want to build the survivor benefit. Maybe they want to build the benefit for a larger Social Security payment for long-term care somewhere in the future. Who knows? But it's for someone who wants to increase the size of their Social Security payment and can afford to do it. And if you're married, this may be one of the biggest levers that you have left, because married couples often have 2 earnings records. And so the spouse can have her Social Security payment or his Social Security payment given to them based on their own earnings record. And by the way, this single decision often determines whether the survivor is receiving a payment that's in the top 25th percentile or the bottom 30%. But the 2071 number, it's just a headline number. It doesn't mean anything in isolation. You need more data. The percentile table is infinitely more important, and that table shows you where you sit. And for the reasonable earner who plans diligently, they can often receive a Social Security payment of $3,000 to $4,000 per month. That puts them in the top 5 to 15% of Social Security recipients, even though they might not be in the top 5 to 15% of earners out there. Just remember this, your rank isn't random, it's a function of 3 things. How long you worked, if you have any zeros on your record, and when you claim Social Security. For most of you watching this video, the decision to claim has already been made. But what you can do next is in your hands. If you're working and collecting Social Security and you're under full retirement age, make sure you run the math to determine what you have to give back and what size your payment ultimately will be when you reach full retirement age. If you've reached full retirement age, you've claimed early, give serious consideration to suspending your payment and letting it continue to grow. 8% per year is one of the most powerful levers you have to increase the size of your Social Security payment, and almost nobody uses this option. And if you're married, sit down with your spouse, look at your Social Security payments, and determine which one is the survivor benefit. This is really important information to have. You can plan a lot with this information. You can plan a new withdrawal strategy, life insurance, even Medicare. And if you're not collecting yet and you're deciding when to start, remember this. Every year you wait past full retirement age increases your base by 8% per year. If you claim at age 62 with a full retirement age of age 67, then you receive 70% of your full retirement age benefit. If you claim at age 70 with a full retirement age of age 67, you receive 124% of your full retirement age benefit. That's the single largest lever you have, and it sets the floor for everything else that you do. Before we go, gang, I have a free giveaway for you. It's the Retirement Readiness Report. It's based on a 15-question quiz that you take. It takes about 2 minutes, and we don't do anything with that information. We don't call you. We don't look for a credit card. It's completely free. You'll also be added to our list, and you get tips, tricks, and other useful information a few times a week. But if you want this Retirement Readiness Quiz report, go to hollyschmidt.com/quiz, fill out the 15 questions, and the report will be emailed to you instantly. If you like this video, check out that video. The first Social Security 2027 COLA estimates are out, and these what they are. Also, don't forget to give our partner chapter a call at 440-703-1224 if you have questions about Medicare. This is Jeff Schmidt, and I will see you in that video right there.